Hello, this is Leslie Reed with Indianapolis online community magazine, ICIndyMag.com, and this is Newsmakers. And Newsmakers is at the Mayoral Forum tonight on the north side of Indianapolis with candidates Jose Evans and candidate Ron Gibson speaking tonight to a community crowd.
How can the candidates keep employers and businesses from discriminating against ex-convicts trying to secure gainful employment?
We're going to have to really think about creative ways to make sure ex-felons get a second chance. I had opportunity when I served as the chairman of the Father and Family Resource Center, which is a center that helps young men get a second chance. Those situations where they can, to hire ex-felons to take on some of those jobs.
Mark on their record, how can they, who served time, who did their time, and now want a fresh start in life, how are they going to be able to have a new life? And it's the mayor's responsibility to make sure that not only can we protect people's neighborhoods, make sure that the economy is going well, make sure that we keep these libraries open, your everyday lives, making sure that people have an opportunity to survive and to live.
Gentlemen, thank you. Gentlemen, a budgetary question. City Controller David Reynolds has said that the City of Indianapolis can expect to lose between $20 and $35 million next year due to property tax caps. In addition, the City of Indianapolis is also expected to lose another $20 million a year in declining revenue from the state of Indiana in sales and income tax revenue. Considering that and the city's growing demands to address crime, infrastructure, what specifically will you do to deal with the city's budgetary issues?
We need to make sure that our priorities are in order. We have a $1.2 billion budget, $1.2 billion budget. What I do know is this, the mayor can sit down, he can call up a CEO of Lilly, he can call up a CEO of Diagro Science, so on and so on and so on. He can get about 30 or 40 leaders in a room and say, listen, we need some help. You guys got all these tax breaks, you guys are supposed to be doing this, help us, help this city, invest in the city, and help come up. Look, if they can come up with $25 million for one day for the Super Bowl, they can come up with $40 million on the shortfall.
That kind of money, $79 million deficit? Here's my plan. One, we've got to pay as we go. We got to make sure we're paying for what we actually need in terms of services. Number two, which is probably the most critical, we got to come up with new financial ways of funding government. And those will all consist of all ideas on the table and really think about some real legislative opportunities to make those changes happen. So we need a new financial rescue package for Indianapolis. And number three is we got to reinvent how we do government. We can't do things the same way that we've done for 30 years. We got to rethink government. And so with those three efforts there, I think we can rebuild the budget. But that's going to be a tremendous task for any mayor. Anybody tells you that's a simple matter, it's fooling you. That's slick talk. This budget crisis is a huge problem for the city of Indianapolis in terms of our future.
We have a problem with incarceration in our neighborhood. But when you look at incarceration, you're talking about incarceration on the back end. And we spend a lot of money on the back end keeping people locked up. Whereas that if we educated them on the front end, we would not have them being incarcerated on the back end. To that degree, Ajabu Communication has been hired by the IUPUI School of Education to recruit teachers. Teachers are the key to your children's education. If you don't have a good teacher, I don't care how good a student you are, more than likely you're going to have some issues. If a teacher does not teach the way that a student learns, then the student won't learn the way that the teacher teaches.
Leslie Reed with Indianapolis Online Community Magazine, ICIndyMag.com. My question is kind of an overview of a lot of the questions I heard, which were all very good. And obviously there are short-term problems we're facing, budget shortfalls and whatnot. Our economy, it seems, in Indianapolis has grown a lot because of the convention, sports, and amateur. And we see that the ebb and flow of monies that relate to that. And visitors come in and spend money, and give tax money. But my thought is, or my question would be, economic development spurs jobs. Drawing businesses here to Indianapolis brings tax revenues So, as to Reverend Ajabu's comment about the back end, how about the front end for the future? How do you both feel about economic development as a catalyst of raising more money instead of worrying about the losing of money? And also, what plans or initiatives might you have in the economic development area, drawing businesses and attracting businesses to Indianapolis that would spur growth, spend money, and thus grow it for the future?
Economic development. That's two phases to that. One, you got to figure out how to attract and retain employers. And let's talk about that briefly. We've got to come up with incentive ways to do that, whether it's tax credits, tax abatements, or other ways to incentivize them to stay in Indianapolis. On the other side of it is, the human capital side is people. And how do you get them qualified to take those jobs, and how do you give them access to those jobs? So on the human capital side, we need to have transportation. We got to have that mass transportation piece. If we think we're going to grow jobs in Indianapolis, we've got to have that. Even for the quality of life. As you grow older and be a senior, you're able to move around Indianapolis without driving a car. Our young folks should get around. We need mass transportation. Number two is we need training. Those of us who are blue-collar workers, we need training for other jobs. Get employed. So when you have a biomed company comes in, most of us don't even qualify for those jobs. The other part of this is technology. We must have ways to the internet and build that media, that communication piece. Every citizen needs access to that. And that's how you create economic development, in my opinion.
About a month ago, I just came back from Israel, and I met with a couple mayors in Israel. And one of the things I was trying to find out, I was learning about crime, economic development, so on and so on. And one of the things that Israel is doing is that in order to keep the citizens there, in order to lower the crime rate, in order to better the transportation, what they're doing is they're making their cities what they're called education cities. And what education city pretty much is, and I only have 40 seconds, it's an environment where the city is investing in education in all forms. In the grade school levels, the high school levels, but more importantly, for adults. So if you want to learn about technology, then the city's providing and working with universities to make sure that that type of learning is available. They're working with some of the drug companies and other manufacturing companies, and it's a partnership. It's a partnership. And in Tiberias, the city about 30 miles west and east of Nazareth, it's working. And I would follow that model.
Comments tonight. Nick, what did you think about tonight's film?
I'm really glad I came out tonight. It gave me insight not only to the two candidates, but more importantly about things we take for granted, maybe things we don't understand what's going on downtown with the mayor. You know, they had a lot of reference to what the current administration is doing, and I learned a lot, you know, in terms of this water bill being taken over, given to the citizens' gas, and the possibility of the water bill going up 400%. You know, I'm kind of amazed that if they could even throw that kind of figure out there.
Appreciate your comments, Nick.
All right, thank you.
If it's around Indy, we're around it. ICIndyMag.com.